sailed open oceans to map new lands, and sought out the unknown while always looking to the stars. We're curious, and now we're at a place where we can pioneer new horizons. Because Earth, this blue planet, and all its beauty, is just our starting place.
It's time to
5,
go again.
4, command engine start, 2, 1.
And liftoff.
Oh yeah, look at her go.
5,000 feet and climbing.
Yes, guys, we're doing it.
Now is the time to open the promise of space to all and lay the way for generations to come. When our descendants look to the stars, perhaps from a rocky moon or colonies floating in open space, they'll remember this time. When they reflect on where it started, they'll remember this place. And when they honor those first explorers who said, "Let's go," they'll remember these bold steps. We are of blue origin. And this is just the beginning.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to New Shepard's 7th human flight. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ariane Cornell here on the desk at our headquarters in Kent, Washington, joined today by my co-host, Jackie Cortez, who's our Senior Director of Civil Space. Good morning, Jackie.
Good morning, Ariane. Thank you so much for that kind intro. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And actually, I think we have a special third host at the desk today.
Yes, it is true. I indeed have a future astronaut in here that's joining us, but she's a little camera shy, and it's still a little early here on the West Coast, so she's just going to hang out under the desk, if that's okay.
It's okay.
Okay, let's get into it, and let's talk about the real stars of the show today, our astronauts, who right now are just about to walk across the launch tower. We're going to keep our eyes peeled for that. And they're going to ingress into the crew capsule for today's flight. Now, we can't wait to tell you about them and their stories. And just like many of you watching at home, these 6 people have dreamed of a chance to go to space since they were kids.
And we can totally resonate with that. I mean, Ariane, you're a well-known personality.
Jackie,
here at Blue.
You flatter.
It's true. I remember seeing you at the desk just like this one for our earliest New Shepard launches way back when. And I actually was super excited to sit with you for one of our first human flights, one of our very early crewed flights on New Shepard. How does it feel to be back?
It feels great. I mean, I can tell you that we have upgraded ourselves a little bit since some of our
A little more high tech.
A little more high tech since our first webcasts, but it's so great to be back. I love being able to share the New Shepard and Blue Origin story.
It's so awesome, Ariane. And how's it been working on Blue Ring, which is one of your new roles?
Fantastic. I mean, Blue Ring is one of the, people think that we're just a rocket company here at Blue Origin, certainly with New Shepard and New Glenn, obviously, but we're really expanding both in scale and scope. As Jackie mentioned, I'm working now on the Blue Ring project. Jackie, you spend quite a bit of time on our lunar program. We've got our space systems development team that's coming up with all sorts of interesting future projects. So there's a lot going on, and I think that the company has really evolved, much like our webcast from, I think the first one I did was New Shepard 5. So this is the 25th, so we've done about 20 since then. And it's just been wonderful to see how the company and our programs evolved. Main one among that, of course, New Shepard, that's gone from testing through our first human flight in 2021, and now this new chapter with each one of these successive human space flights opening space for all.
Absolutely. And Ariane, the stuff you've seen over your career at Blue Origin, truly incredible. And I have to say, we're approaching some major milestones here, especially for our New Glenn team. very exciting time.
Yeah, Jackie, we've got lots of exciting things happening. We're going to spend a lot more time on it, but I mean, New Glenn is ramping up for its first flight at, later on this year, which is huge. So shout out to that team that is running 1,000 miles an hour to get that rocket ready to go. It's really, really exciting.
Yeah, and having worked really, really closely with our Lunar Permanence project here at Blue Origin, I'm so excited for obviously our first New Glenn launch. And then I'm excited for our first Mark 1, our Blue Moon Mark 1 lander. That's coming up pretty soon here too. So it's going to be really exciting to take a moonshot.
Yeah, literally. Do you want to talk a little bit, Jackie, about Mark 1? And of course, we're assuming after Mark 1 is Mark 2. You want to talk a little bit about our lunar program?
Yeah, absolutely, Ariane. We were so honored, thrilled. No adjective is enough to describe how excited we were to be selected for the Human Landing System program with NASA. And so under that program, we're building a large Blue Moon Mark II lander. So starting with that, it can hold 4 astronauts, or it can carry 20,000 kilograms to the lunar surface. So definitely a heavy-duty lander there. And as some really critical precursors, we're flying the Blue Moon Mark 1 lander, which is actually pretty large in and of itself. It can carry 3,000 kilograms to the lunar surface in a single New Glenn. So that's actually coming up here very early in 2025. So we're excited about that.
That's huge. And, I think one of the things that we've talked about is going back to the moon, but this time to stay and to be able to put all of the infrastructure down that you need to be able to stay in that sort of environment. You've got to have a lot of mass that you can take up there.
Absolutely. And you mentioned earlier Space Systems Development, our advanced group doing some really exciting future concepts work, and a really awesome partnership they're working on with NASA is on in situ resource utilization. And so we're working on a public-private partnership that actually turns lunar regolith simulant, so the moon dust, an Earth-based simulant, into usable commodities like solar cells, aluminum wire, and then hopefully someday propellant for our hydrogen-based lander. So it's really cool stuff.
Oh, that's crazy. And people say, oh, well, we've been back to, we've been to the moon. Why are we going back? They didn't have that in the 60s and early 70s when we were on the moon previously. So isn't it just really cool to see and to think about talk about chapters, what this next chapter on the moon could really look like.
It's honestly such an exciting time, and it's an exciting time globally. The Artemis program has really, captured the exciting attention all across the world. So NASA and U.S. industry are, of course, leaders, but to see that global excitement around Moon to Mars and the effort to return to the moon sustainably, it's really exciting.
And yeah, as you said, a global effort, international. As I said, the Artemis program and how many countries have signed the Artemis Accords. It's really exciting, and it's in line with what we talk about here at Blue Origin, which is it's not just going to be one country or one hemisphere going to space and developing space. It's going to be everybody. Okay, well, we're at T-minus 33 minutes to go until launch, and I understand that we have our astronauts that are crossing the launch tower. You see they go from what is basically the emergency shelter. You can see an orange windsock at the top of the emergency shelter on the left-hand tower, and they will cross the bridge to get to the crew access tower, and from there they will walk across the gantry and into the capsule itself. With that, why don't we throw it over to the rocket and watch for our astronauts as they take their final steps into the rocket. All right, welcome back, everybody. We're at T-minus 29 minutes and 20 seconds to go until launch. I understand we're about to go into checks, communications checks, with our capsule communicator, also known as Capcom. Let's turn it over to them. All right, welcome back, everybody. We're at T-minus 27 minutes and 30 seconds to go until launch. We didn't get the clearest of audio there, but that's okay. I understand that the most important bit is the comms between our Capcom and the capsule seem to have gone well. But let's talk, Jackie, just a moment about actually who's on board. We saw a couple of them getting into the capsule here. So we have Ken Hess, who is a software engineer and founder of Family Tree Maker. We've got Carol Schaller, retired CPA and adventurer. We've got Mason Angel, a venture capital investor. There they are. Ooh, looking sharp.
Very snazzy in those blue flight suits.
That's right. It's a beautiful shot of them. We've got Sylvain Chiron, a French entrepreneur, and of course, bienvenue to all of our audience members in France. Gopi Thotakura, aviator and entrepreneur, also both Indian and American, so we've got a nice international crew today. And last but not least, former Air Force Captain Ed Dwight. And Ed has an incredible story, Jackie, and we'll get to learn a little bit more about Ed later in the program.
Yep, and that wonderful, sharp, suited-up crew is sitting on their ride in that capsule right now as we speak. We'll take a closer look at each of these individuals, these awesome people, in just a bit.
But until then, you know, we actually have an interesting member who is going to be joining our hosts. We talked about the third host. We actually have a fourth host, believe it or not. One of our previous former astronauts, Chris Bosshausen, is joining us.
Yes, this community of astronauts that we've been building through New Shepard, it's so awesome to continue to engage with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Chris, I think you're joining us from Europe, so maybe not good morning, but hi, Chris.
Hey, good morning to you, Ariana, Jackie. It looks like a beautiful day out there. I wish I was there.
It's great to see you again. Hey, Chris, you know, you were on our second human flight. Maybe you can talk a little bit about what you think our astronauts are feeling right now in that capsule, all harnessed in and ready to go.
Well, I heard from other passengers who've flown that some of them were not nervous, but I was very nervous. And I think it wasn't until Jeff had closed the door that I calmed down because, you know, we were going to space. But I definitely had a lot of anxiety that morning.
Well, and you say I should note in your as part of your crew, you had Bill Shatner, Captain Kirk on board. What was that like flying with him? I mean, obviously he'd been in space, thousands and thousands of times, right? So it must
near
have been
daily.
Yeah, near daily. So it must felt like very, very comforting.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was fortunate enough to just be going on the second flight, and to find out that William Shatner, one of my childhood heroes, was going to be flying with me was amazing. And I think even better, we've, I think, become really good friends since. So it was definitely a really beautiful experience to share that with Bill and Audrey and Glenn.
Well, and you talk about sharing the experience with them, but I think one of the things that among all of our astronauts, I think you've been one of the most active in terms of sharing your experience. How have you been sharing your experience with the world?
Well, I've been doing a lot of talks, and one thing I've noticed after having flown is I think people believe me more than they used to. So everybody has dreams, and I had a dream of going to space, and I would talk about it, and I would inspire people, and they thought, that was cool. But now I see the cogs turning in their head, and they're like, what? You actually went? You mean I could actually go? And I think that's been a really sort of profound shift in my ability to communicate what this is all about. And going to space has helped me open the doors for many others, and I hope many more to come.
Well, and Chris, we're going to talk about this a little bit more in the show, but one of the things that we try to do here at Blue Origin, especially with our Club for the Future, our nonprofit that we started in 2019 to engage, kids to get into STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. You are the epitome. You are Mr. STEAM. You want to talk in particular about how you've engaged your music, your DJ career into your space story, or vice versa, I should probably say.
Yeah, I think unlike William Shatner, who's a trained actor, I find it very hard to get my emotions out in the real time. I'm an engineer, and so for me, writing music is a way to really spend time to process and think about how I feel. So yeah, I've been writing some songs about the NS-18 mission, what it was like to fly with my amazing crew, what it was like to have to be in space with my loved ones and the entire human race down here on the planet. And I have another one about the future coming out soon, about how I imagine this will unfold in the future. So for me, music is a great way to share that story with people who might not necessarily know that they can go to space. They might hear the song first and go, what, this guy actually went? It's kind of cool.
Oh, that is fantastic. Well, Chris, thank you so much for joining us. We're actually going to have you on later in the show, so stand by. But appreciate the opportunity to get to chat with you.
Mr. Steam. That's going to stick.
Mr. Steam. Yeah, you might need a new DJ name, Chris. Just think about it. All right, everybody. We're at T-minus 21 minutes and 20 seconds to go until launch. Let's talk about the vehicle carrying our astronauts today. Now, the capsule carries the name RSS First Step, which is adorned above the hatch there. You guys probably saw in the image. Jackie, do you want to tell us about what that means? What does RSS mean to begin with?
Absolutely. We love acronyms in the space business, but RSS is a pretty straightforward one. It means reusable spaceship. This capsule in today's flight has already flown to space 8 times. We achieve our long-term vision by building reusable vehicles. Ariane, 99% of New Shepard's dry mass is reused. So everything from the crew capsule and booster to the engines and the parachutes, New Shepard's vehicles are currently designed for 25 missions, but we're really striving to quadruple that number here at Blue.
Reusability is so important, Jackie, and it's built into everything that we do at Blue Origin, all of our systems, and it actually all kind of started with New Shepard here, because step number one, it reduces the cost of access to space. Right? And also, not only does it reduce the cost of access to space, but also it's just kinder on our planet because it reduces the waste. You're not tossing out rockets every time you use them.
Absolutely, Ariane. And New Shepard's engine is fueled by a highly efficient combination of liquid oxygen and hydrogen. So actually, during flight, the only byproduct that you'll see is water vapor.
It's
amazing.
It's kind of like a jacked up steam engine, isn't it? No, I'm kidding. It's actually a lot more complex.
Just slightly more complicated.
A little bit more complex, but no. But yes, but not joking. It is just steam. When you guys are watching the shot of the rocket ascending in just a couple of minutes here, it is just steam. Okay, we're at T-minus 19 minutes and 20 seconds to go until launch. New Shepard, as you can see here, is on the pad and awaiting launch. Everything is go so far. Now, if you're just joining us, this is the 25th flight of New Shepard and the 7th overall human flight. Now, continuing the tradition of past crews, I'll say that today our crew made their own postcards. And the postcard program is something that comes from our Club for the Future, as we just mentioned a little bit earlier, our nonprofit that's meant to inspire kids to get into space. And so we have kids draw on postcards what they think the future of space will look like, and then we fly them to space, mark them, send to space, and send them back to the kids. And as you can see here, our astronauts made their own, and those postcards will also fly to space. How inspiring.
That's right, Ariane. And the reason we fly postcards is because we want to make space more accessible to students. We want to see kids around the world reach for those STEAM careers, that science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. That's really, a core mission of Club for the Future. And Club recently launched a new online way for students to draw digital postcards and send their art to space on New Shepard. Now, that is something I wish I could have done when I was little, sending art to space. I will say, not just for the kids. I've made many a digital postcard, Ariane.
I've got a couple of them. But seriously, though, Jackie, I think it's really important what we're doing here. I mean, I remember a space project that I did when I was in 5th grade and when I was 10, and I can draw a direct line from that project to me sitting here today having, working at Blue Origin. I think it's so important.
Absolutely. The work Club is doing is amazing. And they're now also one of 4 founding member organizations in an exciting public-private partnership called Space for All. The goal is to call on students everywhere to reach for a career in STEAM, no matter who they are or where they're from. Space for All is inviting young people from literally anywhere to reach higher, dream bigger, and take that next step into a future space career. Check out their website to get involved. It's really awesome stuff.
Yeah, the club is doing some wonderful work, and it'll be great to see the engagement with these other organizations. Okay, we're at T-minus 16 minutes and 45 seconds to go until launch. Now, I also want to bring our audience up to speed on things that are happening down in Florida at our other launch site, Rocket Park, which is on Florida's Space Coast, where we're getting ready. It's getting really exciting
real
down there. We're going to be launching soon, later this year, our new vehicle, New Glenn. Jack, you want to tell us a little bit more about New Glenn?
That's right, Ariane. New Glenn is coming soon. New Shepard is designed for suborbital space tourism, and New Glenn will be a big, very big next step for Blue. It's an orbital vehicle powered by a reusable first stage booster that launches from Cape Canaveral in Florida.
So very recently, as you see here on your screen, we rolled out New Glenn onto the launch pad for the very first time. And this milestone was the first in a series of tests in preparation for New Glenn's first launch later this year. And this allowed our teams to test flight hardware and ground software and practice launch operations, which, Jackie, I mean, people talk about obviously the design of the rocket, et cetera. But the operations part of it is just as important, and that's why this was a critical step. Now, as you can see here, New Glenn, in a word, I would say, is massive. We're talking 5 times the size of New Shepard. Over 300 feet tall. That's over 100 meters tall, and there's a lot of similarities, let's say, between New Shepard and New Glenn, more so than meet the eye.
Yes, right. For example, vertical landing systems, the fin systems are similar, but also there are things that aren't quite as visual. So software systems, internal propellant tank designs, and like you mentioned, Ariane, just the sheer experience. that we're gaining on New Shepard helps us build confidence in New Glenn's future success. Truly, every time we fly New Shepard, it helps our team learn how to make human spaceflight routine, safe, and low cost. All the key things that will play right into New Glenn.
Yeah, and so as you can see, things are very exciting in Florida, but certainly, of course, back down in Texas as we get ready for our launch here. We're at T-minus 14 minutes and 15 seconds to go. Now, the mission control team is continuing to go through their final checkouts today, and I don't know about you, Jackie, but I'm starting to feel that pre-launch hype going on here.
The goosebumps are happening, the pre-launch jitters. I'm so excited for today's crew.
I've said this before, there is nothing like a rocket and a countdown clock to get you a little amped up.
Who needs coffee over here this morning?
Who needs coffee? All right, so let's talk a little bit more. We saw our crew member 7 on the feed a little bit earlier. That was Barrett. We also have a second crew member 7, Laura Stiles. Now, these crew member 7s, you might be kind of confused because you're like, hold on a second, there are only 6 seats in the capsule. Yes, but these 2 crew member 7s are a critical part of the crew.
Yeah, that's right, Ariane. Like you said, the crew that flies to space and back in the crew capsule is a crew of 6. And crew member 7, or CM7 for short, is a pair of people, virtual crew members of sorts, who are part of the entire astronaut crew experience. They're with them the whole time out in West Texas. It's a really, really important role.
So these people are embedded in the mission the entire way. And we've got a video to show you a little bit more about their role and what they do as part of this mission. Let's roll it.
Command engine start. 2.
Crew member 7 is a very unique role at Blue Origin. And traveling to space is an incredibly life-changing experience.
Oh my goodness.
You want somebody who's guiding you through it that doesn't just understand the technical side of the rocket and the launch operation, but also has the soft skills to truly support you through this wonderful journey. That's why crew member 7 is so important. There are 6 people that fly on the New Shepard crew capsule. The 7th person is crew member 7.
We have 2 crew member 7s for each launch. One of the crew member 7s, they are with the astronauts pretty much 24/7. They are staying at the village, they're training them. We have another crew member 7 that serves as capsule communicator.
And that's the person who is back physically in the control room and is actually talking to the astronauts when they're in the capsule.
Everyone on the crew member 7 team has to be comfortable in a really dynamic operations environment. You have to be unflappable in anything that might come your way. We have folks from NASA, we have world record holders for skydiving, a nuclear submarine officer. It's truly a very diverse set of people bringing unique skill sets to the table.
The most important role for crew member 7 is to instill confidence in the astronauts that we fly on New Shepard. And really that comes down to a very good training program.
Safety is absolutely paramount to everything that we do here at Blue as we build this road to space.
We have a crew capsule mock-up where we run through full mission simulations.
Separation confirmed. You are free to unstrap.
So the only surprise on launch day is the incredible view outside of those windows.
This is nuts!
Where they can look at the Earth and be changed.
Oh, wow.
And bring that feeling back to Earth with an inspiration to protect the Earth. Because that's what we're doing this for. We are doing this for the benefit of Earth.
I think it's safe to say the crew member 7s have a pretty cool role here at Blue Origin.
They have an awesome role. I love what I do at Blue, but I do get a little jealous of them sometimes. But no, they are incredible, and they have this really interesting mix, as you've seen, of the really technical side of it, but also some of the soft skills that are necessary. Okay, we're at T-minus 10 minutes to go until launch. Under 10 minutes, you know it's getting real, although I do see here that we've gone into a hold. This hold at T-minus 10 minutes is a planned hold, so just want to make sure that all of the teams are aligned here. But while we've got a little bit of time, why don't we talk about the flight profile that New Shepard is going to follow in just a few minutes.
7, 6.
New Shepard's mission
5,
begins when the
4,
countdown clock reaches 0.
2, 1, 0.
At this point, the engine will start and the rocket will lift off of the pad. It will continue under the boost phase for about 2.5 minutes until main engine cutoff. 20 seconds later, the crew capsule will separate from the booster and the astronauts will unharness and enjoy 0G. The crew capsule will continue past the Kármán line to an ultimate apogee of 350,000 feet, or 100 kilometers. The booster will autonomously land on the landing pad, ready to be prepped for its next flight. Around 3.5 minutes after separation, the crew capsule will begin to re-enter Earth's atmosphere. Parachutes will deploy around an altitude of 7,000 feet, or 2,100 meters, providing a nice, slow descent back to Earth. After landing, astronauts exit the capsule and are greeted by the Blue Origin ground crew, family, and friends to celebrate and reflect on their flight. New Shepard, an adventure unlike anything on Earth.
All of that, everything you just saw in that exciting video, that's about to happen in real time in just a few moments here this morning.
In just a few moments, but again, we are in a hold, sitting here at T-minus 10 minutes. Again, just want to make sure that our teams are getting aligned here. We've said it before, you know, we've spent years designing the rocket, we spend months designing the mission, and so if we get to launch day and we need a couple more minutes, that is totally fine. So with that, why don't we turn it over to the rocket and watch as she gets ready for her flight to space today. Thank you for joining us, everybody. We're at T-minus 10 minutes to go until launch. We are still in a hold here as our teams get all aligned for launch today. Now, Jackie, this is the 25th mission in New Shepard's program, and we've made a lot of progress through first the test program, and then we had, as I said earlier, we had our first human launch in 2021 where we sent our founder Jeff Bezos up with his brother Mark and Wally Funk and Oliver Damon, and then since then we have been flying people. And so why don't we take a look at how we have gotten here today with New Shepard.
I think that historians will look back at the early 21st century as a really important time in the expansion of humanity into the solar system.
Jeff Bezos is about to blast off into space.
People that have been on this journey has changed their outlook on humanity.
Space has always been something I've wanted to do, but it's never been accessible until now.
It feels like a turning point where we can open up this experience for more people.
I think it's so important to start making the demographics of space look like the demographics of our world.
I'm Brazilian and I'm the second Brazilian to go to space.
-10. This is a new era of the unbelievable, where a teacher from North Carolina gets to go to space. It was amazing. The energy, the feel, everything about it.
There is Miko, main engine cutoff. Look at that view.
Looking out the window and seeing the black sky and the curvature of the earth.
Holy.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like it.
And the windows are huge. Absolutely huge.
Weightlessness, looking down and like pretty cool.
I'll love every second of it. Woo!
We went to space!
Everybody talks about it, but until you see it, you don't really know.
What you have given me is the most profound experience I can imagine.
It's just a dream come true. I wanted to do this my entire life.
It's almost like an out-of-body experience to see the Earth from that perspective and understand how small of a part we are of something so large.
So far, we have flown 31 people across 6 human flights. One of these people has actually gone twice, so he clearly had a fun time the first time around. And today's flight will bring us up to 37 people. Now, all told, that's about 5% of the people who have ever flown above the Kármán line, which is 100 kilometers up, or of course the internationally recognized line of space. And I think what's really cool to stop and recognize, Jackie, is that, you know, we've done this in fewer than 3 years, and think about how many decades it took us as a global humankind to get the first 95%. So it just gives you a little bit of perspective on what New Shepard has done so far. I should also say, captured in that 31 people is also 9%, so almost 10% of all women that have flown to space have gone by way of New Shepard. Now, it's not just those numbers, and I've touched upon this a little bit earlier too, is this is an international program. Today, we have Sylvain Chiron from France. That's the first person from France to fly with us. Not the first French person to ever go up into space, but the first person to fly with New Shepard. Gopi Thotakura, who is a dual citizen of the US, but also of India. So we're making this very international, and we're also starting to open up space for countries that have never been to space. So on our flights, our previous flights, we've had the first Egyptian, the first Portuguese, the first Mexican-born woman, I mean, it's really touching. As somebody who is also international, I should say I'm half French. Like it's really wonderful to see that part of what New Shepard is doing for all of us. Okay. We're at T-minus 10 minutes to go until launch. We continue to be in a hold here while our team gets everything aligned. And until then, why don't we toss it over to the rocket and watch as New Shepard gets ready for space today. Thank you again for everybody for joining us this morning. We're at T-minus 10 minutes to go until launch. Our team continues to be in a hold, just making sure that everything is aligned. Weather's looking good for launch as well. And we will be back when the team resumes from the hold. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us for New Shepard's 25th mission to space, the 7th human flight. Now, we are in a hold. We continue to be in a hold. My understanding, though, is that we have gone escape-enabled, which means that the escape system in the crew capsule is ready to go if need be. The other thing that I should note is that we expect to clear this hold shortly here, and shortly following the clearance of the hold, we will go into the go, no-go poll. And that, Jackie, is when things get real before our flight here. So with T-minus 10 minutes to go until launch, why don't we throw it back to the rocket and wait just a moment as we get ready for the go, no-go poll.
Green board. Good flight. I'm cleared.
Welcome back, everybody. We're T-minus 9 minutes and 30 seconds to go until launch. Now, while a little scratchy there, what we did here is indeed we are go for launch on New Shepard's 25th mission to space and our 7th human mission to space. Well, and now that we're go for launch, which, by the way, never gets old to hear, why don't we go ahead and meet today's crew? Jackie, take it away.
Let's do it, Ariane. In seat number 1 is Ken Hess, a software engineer and entrepreneur with a lifelong passion for flight. In 2001, Ken started the nonprofit Science Buddies, a K-12 program created to improve STEAM literacy. And flight is just in Ken's blood. This is really cool, Ariane. Back in 1922, Ken's great-uncle Franklin stepped into the literal future when he flew a Curtiss Model F flying boat. You heard that right, flying boat.
That is cool.
And like his uncle, Ken will be a pioneer in his own right today, helping to open up the frontier of space. In seat 2, we have Carol Schaller, a retired CPA from the best state in the United States, Pennsylvania.
You're a little biased, I think. I think that's what we're reading.
Just a little. In 2017, Carol's doctor told her that she would likely go blind. And since then, she's made it her mission to see the whole world. And she has. She's covered 25 countries. She's been to Mount Everest Base Camp. She's trekked the Uganda forest. She's seen mountain gorillas, camped on the Antarctic plains at 20 below zero. Clearly, nothing is holding Carol back. She told us that seeing Earth from space will fulfill her lifelong dream.
Now, next we have Sylvain Chiron on seat number 3. Sylvain is the founder of Brasserie Mont Blanc, one of the largest craft breweries in France. And he was born in the French Alps, grew up skiing in his backyard, but importantly is connected to today. He earned his pilot's license at age 16 and has been flying airplanes ever since. So aerospace is certainly in this man's blood. In seat number 4, we have Ed Dwight. Ed was selected as the nation's first black astronaut candidate in 1961 after completing the elite U.S. Air Force flight training program, known at the time as a pathway to the astronaut corps. Now, Ed left the military in 1966, unfortunately not having gone to space at that point, but he became an entrepreneur and ultimately he fulfilled his other childhood dream of becoming an artist. And now we have had the great pleasure of sitting down with Ed in his studio earlier this year. Let's check it out.
So let's walk this way into the studio. There's a group of people who know me as Ed Dwight, the artist. And they had no idea that I was involved in anything about space. I was going to be the first black astronaut. I completed astronaut training. Everything that we did, I did, and I did it well. And if politics had changed, I would have gone to space in some kind of capacity. Everybody has this thing about how angry I must have been, how disappointed I must have been. As I look at it philosophically, my role in the whole process was to open up a conversation about blacks in space. And so I served a purpose, and I was very, very proud of it. I started out with this art career about 45 years ago, and I had never sculpted before in my life. At the time, there was no way to find any black imagery in city parks, museums, galleries, and I thought the black people have contributed to America needs to be honored. I thought the whole idea of going to space with Blue Origin was a fascinating last chapter.
He would have been the first black astronaut. That is history that needs to be changed.
There's a lot of people that are happy, and I'm more worried about making other people happy than making myself happy, so that all worked out. But when the rocket is roaring and the rumbling and the noise, I think that I would enjoy the hell out of. I really, really want to do this because each person that goes up there all of a sudden has a totally different perspective of this little place here. Space can bring people together. If everybody went to space for a space mission and say, oh my God, this place is workable. Oh, it's workable. Let's go back and make it work.
I have to agree with Ed there. Earth is very workable. It's a workable paradise. Now, it's an honor to fly Ed on board today.
It truly is. And next, in seat number 5, we have Gopi Thotakura. Gopi is co-founder of Preserve Life Corps, a global center for holistic wellness and applied health. He's a lifelong pilot and aviator. And fun fact for you, Ariane, Gopi learned how to fly before he learned to drive a car.
That's really impressive.
Yeah, and I don't even like driving, so I am extra impressed here. And Gopi flies jets, bush planes, aerobatics, seaplanes, you name it, and he flies it. It's pretty amazing.
I love it. Now, last but not least is Mason Angel in seat number 6. Mason is the founder of Industrious Ventures, a VC fund supporting early stage companies. And Mason calls Colorado home, where you might find him skiing or hiking in the Rockies with his dog, who is named Leo. And yes, Jackie, that does stand for low Earth orbit. So in case it wasn't clear, we've got a couple of aerospace nerds on board. They fit right in here at Blue Origin.
Yeah, when you have a dog named Leo, it's a You're certified space nerd.
It's a sign.
It's official. And with Mason, that rounds out our crew today. 6 incredible people that are all ready to have the ride of their life on New Shepard.
Now, ride of their life indeed is coming up here in just 2 minutes and 45 seconds to go until launch. Now, Jackie, at 2 minutes is when we go into our bit checks, our built-in tests. But just as importantly, more importantly, the rocket goes into its autonomous mode. So at that point, mission control is there, but they turn the show over to the rocket. So what we're going to be looking for there, the aft fins. So you see a couple of the fins sticking out there at the base of the rocket. Those are going to move back and forth. We want to make sure they have a full range of motion. We will then also keep an eye out for the BE-3 engine at the base of the rocket to gimbal. So the BE-3 engine, there's one of those at the base of the rocket, liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen, propelling New Shepard today. And as you mentioned earlier in the show, as we see the rocket lift off, what is expelled is just steam. So people have asked, well, how clean is this rocket? We expel steam as it goes up into space, which is just to wrap into this whole idea of, millions of people living and working in space for the benefit of Earth. We want to make sure that we are not contributing negatively. So, of course, that's a wonderful part of New Shepard. So with that, we're going to keep an eye out here for the last-minute checks on the vehicle. We do see that the gantry has been retracted, which means it is showtime. There you go. At the base of the rocket, you see the fins moving back and forth. There are 4 of those fins, 1 on each quadrant. And at this angle, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see the BE-3 engine gimbaling back and forth, but the gimbal of the engine plus those fins are what direct the rocket both on ascent, but obviously the rocket, because it comes back to land, also upon descent to make sure it ends up right on its landing pad 2 miles north of where it's taken off from. All right. Final countdown. Let's turn it over to mission control. Let's light this candle.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Command engine start. 2, 1, 0. Ignition. And liftoff.
New Shepard has cleared the tower. The rocket and our astronauts are heading up to space. Now you can follow along on the bottom left of your screen. The altimeter on the left. Excuse me, altimeter on the right and the speedometer on the left.
10,000 feet.
All right, as we go through this flight, there are a couple of milestones here. The first one will be max Q. That's when the dynamic pressures are the highest on the vehicle. We go from 100% power, pull it back a little bit as we go through max Q, and then ramp her back up to 100%.
Okay, maximum pressure.
Feet.
Max G should be in about 10 seconds. Whoa. Wow.
Max Q has been confirmed. Again, thank you everybody for joining us for New Shepard's 25th mission to space. So far, a nominal flight. We have gone through max Q.
100,000 feet.
and the vehicle will continue to climb under full power of the BE-3 engine. The next milestone will be main engine cutoff. You will know when that happens when you see the glow of the engine at the base of the rocket go dim.
Miko.
There we go. Main engine cutoff confirmed.
Passing 200,000 feet.
Now, with the main engine cut off, with the BE-3 engine turned off, the vehicle continues to climb up towards its apogee, but as you will see on the left side, the speedometer will come down, and once that speedometer hits 0, that's when you know exactly that the vehicle has hit apogee, its highest altitude in the flight of the vehicle. Now, I understand that separation of the capsule from the booster has been confirmed. And 0G has started for our astronauts. Shortly here, we're going to let them unbuckle and enjoy the beauty of floating around in 0G, but of course, the spectacular views out of those windows. And I'll say that having passed over 330,000 feet, they are over the Kármán line, so welcome to space, astronauts.
A few expected drops of lift.
And there we go. Apogee at just about 347,000 feet or so. Of course, we'll confirm our official figure at the end or after the webcast. At this point, our astronauts are still enjoying that beautiful 0G up in their capsule. All 6 crew just officially became astronauts. So exciting. Now, thank you again for joining us for the 25th mission of New Shepard, our 7th human flight. And I'll just acknowledge that the milestone figure on the left is a little bit out of sync, but that's okay. Follow along with me through this flight. I got you covered. At this point into flight, you see the 2 craft, the rocket on the left, the crew capsule on the right. And you're going to see the speedometer on the bottom left of the screen increase as the vehicles speed up back towards Earth. The rocket is going to beat the capsule back down to the ground. It is more aerodynamically shaped. And once it hits atmosphere, we've got a multitude of aerodynamic surfaces that are going to guide it back to its landing pad just 2 miles north of the launch pad. And then just a little bit afterwards, we have the crew capsule, which will also come back down into that West Texas Valley for a nice soft landing.
Launch pad is safe to pass, but not for approach. Copy, copies.
You see it? Oh, Sarah wins. Sarah wins. We're in relation to the crowd.
Okay, passing 50,000 feet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wait, below the clouds. Trump coming down. Oh, yeah. Very low before. Oh, there it is. There it is.
All right, you see the booster that is headed down. You see the drag fins, the drag brakes that have just deployed. Those cut the speed of the booster in half. Also at the top of the rocket there, you see the forward fins. They kind of look like pie slices, one on each quadrant. That helps keep the vehicle stable. And there we go, BE-3 engine relight. Landing gear deployed.
50 feet, 8 feet per second. Test job. Autosync started.
And touchdown. Welcome home, New Shepard. What a beautiful flight to space and back for that booster. Man, it feels good to be flying again, Jackie. Taking our astronauts to space and back. It is, I mean, every day is a good day at the rocket factory, but flying people never gets old.
And I love that West Texas desert dust that gets kicked up, and it's once it clears, a landed booster. It's like a magic trick.
It's actually like, ooh, booster just arrived. Yeah, it definitely adds to the drama of landing a rocket from space. And, you know, as we say, landing the rocket is just really one of the proudest moments because it shows the incredible engineering. It isn't magic. It is not magic, Jackie. The engineering that has gone into building, designing, testing, flying, but bringing this rocket home from space, ready to be reused. You see, very quickly thereafter, the forward fins come back in, the drag brakes come back in. You look like you just fuel her up and launch her from there and get ready to go again. But the show is not over. The crew capsule has deployed its guide parachutes and its mains. Everything looking nominal on today's flight. Looks like we do have 2 parachutes that have full inflation. The third is not quite fully inflated. But actually, Jackie, this is part of the design. We were talking about my webcast. The first webcast that we did, we tested a chute out. There are multiple redundant factors in this system, and so landing with 2 parachutes is perfectly okay for this system. You'll also see the dust kick out at the base of the capsule as she comes in to land. That is the air cushioning system. It's going to kick up a lot of that West Texas dust you just talked about, but it also, there it is, touchdown of the crew capsule. A beautiful flight for our rocket, for our crew capsule, for our 6 new astronauts, Mason, Sylvain, Ken, Carol, Gopi, and Ed. You are officially astronauts. Welcome home, everybody. Now, our team has started operations to safely recover our astronauts from the crew capsule. We send out our safety crew as soon as we have visual connection with the crew capsule coming back from space. So they are well on their way out to meet the crew capsule there. What you're going to see as soon as they get there, the first person on the ground, crew member 7, we've talked about them before. So in this case, it'll be Laura Stiles. She's going to go around to each one of the windows, make sure that we've got a thumbs up check from each one of the astronauts. Then you will see the rest of the crew around, safing the capsule, making sure that anything that needs to be vented is vented. We ground it. And then you will see them bring out a set of stairs. The hatch is about a meter or so, a couple of feet off of between the base of the hatch and the Texas floor. So we want them to have a nice, smooth exit. And then we bring their friends and family out there.
Then it's time to celebrate.
It's time to celebrate. They've just become astronauts. They've achieved this incredible, it's an incredible thing that they've been dreaming about since they were kids, and finally it's happened. There you go. See part of the operations crew in the background. So we have a celebration, and that is topped off by a pinning ceremony. We pin them with their astronaut pins, and it's a really touching moment. It really is a touching moment. We do have initial confirmation that all astronauts are doing great. They are probably soaking it all in while still, under a rush of adrenaline. They just want to space and back. Look at that beautiful view of our crew capsule in the desert after our 7th human flight on the New Shepard system. Now, Jack, you see the crew capsule there and the parachutes that have fallen not far from the capsule itself. One of the things that indicates is in fact that there wasn't a lot of ground wind out there as they came in. They landed nicely around the crew capsule. And what we just saw there was our drone footage, and then of course here our long-range camera. And Jackie, while this is a long-range camera, something that you can't miss on this crew capsule are the windows. So 6 seats, 6 windows, all like the entire surface area, a third of it is windows. So that also includes the base. So when you think about it, like it actually feels like even more than a third of the capsules is windows. And we've heard from some of our previous astronauts when they're up there, you're like, oh, you're just so, in awe of the view coming in from your own window. But when you turn back around to look at your crewmates, all you see is window because your brain just connects all those windows together. It almost feels like you're just looking out of one continuous window. And talking about previous astronauts, why don't we talk with Chris Boshausen from our 2nd human flight. Chris, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Wow, that was an exciting flight.
Wasn't that exciting? I mean, what? Give me an idea. Again, you were on our 2nd human flight. What is it like when you've gone up to space, you've come back down, and you're waiting in the crew capsule?
I think, if I recall, we were just so excited, and like on the way down, I remember William Shatner said, I think when the Capcom does the check-in, he said astronaut Lemley is crying, and then we're all crying, and then we landed, and I think we were kind of laughing with joy that we'd landed safely, but still just overflowing with emotion from what we just witnessed.
Well, and yeah, talking about overflowing of emotion, I think one of the most extraordinary parts from your flight was precisely seeing William Shatner as he came out of the capsule, and he was just overwhelmed. And how fortunate are we to have captured a poet, a songwriter? Not a ton of people know that about Bill Shatner. Put into words in the moment what he was feeling. It was extraordinary. Now, Chris, tell me, we just talked about this one moment when you're in the capsule, but tell me about your experience from training through what we're seeing here. What were some of the highlights?
I think probably the training was a lot of fun because we didn't really know each other before we showed up, and even before we flew, we really felt like a family. And I think one of the cool parts about the training is, as a crew, deciding how we're going to use our time. And we decided that, the thing you can't get on Earth or on a zero gravity flight is the view. And so we made a commitment as a team that we would all enjoy the view. I broke my own commitment because I did 2 somersaults the second I got out of my chair. But that view is just captivating.
Do I also remember that you might have brought a little Lego man with you?
I did, yeah. I carried up a few little keepsakes as sort of tributes to my influences. And one of the key ones was a little yellow Lego astronaut. And, ever since I was probably age 4, I've been building spacecraft out of Legos. So I really wanted to carry this up there for the inner child in me and everyone out there, no matter their age, to just keep playing and exploring.
Critical question. Where is that Lego right now as we speak?
He is sitting on my desk at home. He's very happy.
He is
his
also
legs are
an
getting a bit
astronaut.
loose because I actually pick him up every day. Yeah, and he's an astronaut, right? I suppose there were five on our crew.
He's an astronaut. We couldn't put the pin in the plastic, but I'm sure we can send him a pin anyway, if we haven't already. All right, Chris, just a second here. I want to comment on what's going on. So if you're just joining us, we have just had a successful 25th mission of New Shepard, the 7th human space flight for our New Shepard program. That makes 37 astronauts in total that we have taken up to space and back. What you see here is our safety team that is safing the vehicle, making sure, again, that everything that needs to vent has been vented, making sure that our astronauts are all right, although I have heard already that everybody is a thumbs up and had a great flight to space and back. What you will see coming up shortly here is they will put a set of stairs just outside the hatch for a nice, comfortable egress of the crew capsule. And then, of course, we are also removing the parachutes so they're not, so they're disconnected from the capsule itself. Now, Chris, back to you. So you talked a little bit about your experience. Do you have a highlight from? I know this is a hard question. One highlight from the flight itself.
Yeah, I think it's hard to choose, but there's so many really interesting things. But I think the most profound one was when I stopped looking at the Earth and then went out to look at the blackness of space. I felt almost like a tractor beam attracting me and luring me to go further. I almost feel like it was an explorer's gene that switched on, and a voice in my head said, "Keep going." And that, I'd always wondered how I'd feel as a space advocate having flown. Would I feel like I'd finished my life's mission and I had nothing left to do? But I actually came back more motivated than ever to keep going out into space.
Well, Chris, you are an entrepreneur. You helped start the company Planet, which puts, small satellites, Earth observation satellites into space. Before that, you were executive director of Space Generation, trained in aerospace engineering. What was it like putting all of those pieces together and then going to space? You have to speak on behalf of a lot of us that have wanted to go to space and are in the space industry, but may or may not get that opportunity.
Yeah, I think many years ago when I was a kid, I had pivotal insight that a lot of organizations that have space in their name or talk about space don't actually have things in space, which is sort of the impetus for me to become an engineer and ultimately start, co-found Planet Labs, to actually build stuff and put things in space. So my life goal has always been to make space travel as easy as catching a bus. And I felt to lend credibility to that, I had to, put my money where my mouth is and actually try out this thing that I talked about my whole life. So in a way, it was a very grounding and affirming thing for me to do.
Now, obviously this experience has touched you greatly. I love that quote about how you looked up at the darkness of space and it almost was drawing you like, oh, no, there's more to go. We have to go further. Yeah. How have you, in the last couple of years since you've flown, what have you done to tell your story, to talk about these experiences and share them with the rest of the world? Besides, of course, joining us on our webcast. So thanks for that, by the way.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thanks for having me back. I think the thing that I'm most excited about is to send more people to space. So I actually just joined the board for Space for Humanity. And in the spirit of what I was just saying, they're one of the few space foundations that has actually sent people to space. They've already sent, I think now officially 3 citizen astronauts because they helped sponsor Ed's flight today. And also, by the way, Mason Angel is also a vision board member at Space for Humanity. So I think for me, like being able to push on that frontier to get more and more people to share this experience, to help talk about why it's important and to add more energy and momentum, I think that's really fantastic. And that's something that I'm, just be able to send more people up to space is a really privileged thing to be able to do.
Well, and I should add, yes, thank you for highlighting that Space for Humanity helped sponsor Ed Dwight's seat today, but also the Jamie and Jason Robinson Foundation. And some of the viewers at home might recognize the name Jason Robinson because he also has flown on New Shepard recently. And I think what's really cool, and Chris, you can speak to this, is I feel like when our astronaut customers come back, they join this community and of astronauts, especially Blue Origin. You certainly become part of the Blue Origin family, but the way that you all give back, I guess, what's the draw? What does that feel like being part of that group?
Well, it's a sort of, it's kind of strange, right? I mean, when I flew, I think still fewer than 600 people had been to space. And, if you ask someone in the public, they probably don't know that number is so small. So in a way, we're part of a club that we want to one day, have completely open membership and have the whole, all of humanity be members. So it's just kind of really exciting to be at the beginning of that and seeing new members join. I had a chance to run into some astronauts from some of the other missions from other companies, and they feel the same, and we share this bond of being part of, a group of human beings that have shared a very intimate and unusual experience.
Well, and I should add, Chris, talking about 6 new astronauts that are going to share that bond with you. We have just opened the hatch of the crew capsule. Here comes Ken Hess. Oh, Sharon, I love it.
All right.
Carol, welcome back.
Unbelievable.
Sylvain. And here exits Ed Dwight. This gentleman has waited a long time to go to space.
Long time coming.
Selected in the early 60s as the first black astronaut to fly, although he did not get to fly then. Today was his opportunity, and man, what a flight for him. Finally, an official astronaut.
I'm ready.
Thank you, everyone.
Gopi Thotakura.
Gopi can add spaceship to the litany of vehicles that he's flying.
Exactly. Put that in his logbook.
That's right.
And of course, Mason, welcome home.
Leo will be very excited to see Mason back on Earth.
Yay! You're down! Here, one of you. Come right on over here.
There's crew member 7, Laura Stiles, assembling our newly minted astronauts.
Overwhelmed, everything you can think of. And I thought I really didn't need this in my life, but now I need it in my life. This is fabulous. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for being part of this.
All right, I am ecstatic.
Ecstatic. Did anything surprise you? What was it like looking at Earth?
Well, yeah, the transitions about the separations and stuff were a little bit more dynamic. I mean, they were nice, smooth, but that's how it's supposed to be. But it makes your mind wander. There's something wrong with it. No, it was absolutely terrific, and the view. I mean, just even I couldn't see it, I could see. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely, this is a life-changing experience. Everybody needs to do this.
Everybody needs to do this.
And
I love it.
hasn't done it yet.
Oh, you have?
No, sir.
What?
A life-changing experience. Everybody needs to do this. I think that is the quote, and it's so spot on the nose from Ed Dwight, from again a gentleman who's been waiting 60 plus years to do this. And if anybody knows, about how to prepare for space,
the crew endurance, right?
It's him, and he did it. And this is that is his
They really
takeaway.
spent some time caring and taking care.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was trying to make a comparison of what I've done 60 years ago.
Yeah,
and
tell us about it.
How spry. Back in the day, making the world happen. But this is just absolutely fabulous, And I thought I didn't need it in my life,
That's right. That's what you said this morning.
Yeah.
You've been thinking for 60 years, I don't need it.
But
and
I
then
lied.
Today, you were lying. You needed it and you got it. You got it, Ed.
I really didn't need it. Okay.
You are an astronaut.
Because it was the first real deal that I got involved in that I wasn't successful at. And that was a part that, because everything else I had done had all these little incremental successes,
Right.
They weren't
right.
gigantic, but they were.
You had a lot of. Don't be humble. You had a lot of successes.
And to not finish this, really in the back of my mind, so I had to sublimate it and make it go away and say, well, I didn't need that anyway, But I did, and I wish I'd gotten it then, but. It's great. That's all I can say.
It's great.
Absolutely fabulous.
Well, we are so happy for you.
You guys are the best of the best of the best.
Oh.
No, I'm serious. But I was talking to Dave last night. We were sitting and chatting, and the fat guy one time said, God, I love this job. I find me a first responder. I love this job. I look at this grown man talking about he loves this job. I mean, what the hell is that? It's absolutely fabulous. So everybody in the organization, I don't know whether you guys took some true serum. I don't know how you did
you
it.
see his glasses?
Huh?
Did you show him your glasses?
How did the glasses work?
It was perfect. I was moaning and groaning because the icons looked too small.
Okay.
Once the glasses got on, and there was. God, it was like it was,
Just like your practice panel.
Yeah. All the other times I saw it, I mean, I couldn't even see it. It was so tiny. And I was wondering why they made it so tiny on the simulator.
Right.
But the size of it and the real deal is just there,
Good.
which is absolutely terrific. So
That's wonderful.
So it was worth the $4,000.
Oh.
Yeah.
We are so happy for you. So happy for you. Can we get you?
I think you heard it right there, Jackie and Chris. What an extraordinary day for all of us here at Blue Origin, but especially for our 6 newest astronauts. We were just listening to Ed Dwight. Ed, as we mentioned, was selected back in the 60s to become the first black astronaut. Unfortunately, didn't get to fly back in the day, but we were able to fulfill his dream. And, you could tell that he had kind of talked himself out of it. Like, I didn't need this in my life. I didn't need this in my life. And then you heard him say right now, oh, wait, yeah, no, actually I did. No, this is actually as cool and as life-changing and as touching as I thought it was going to be.
I think the
and
training
so just
makes it a breeze.
extraordinary
I think I was in another sensation. I was not, and it's thanks to Ari and everybody at Blue Origin. Yeah, it's amazing. It really is.
Thank you.
Thank
Tell
you.
me more about the view. Woo! As I pull your glasses off, tell me more.
It's not like movies. It's really not. You have to see it with your eyes to really, really, really take it in. And I looked at it for the first time when we were asked that separation happened.
Yes.
I got a glance of it, but then when you start to look at it, I started to look at it, and then my legs went up. I was like, I don't want to leave it. I want to go back to it. I want to go back to it.
What did Victor tell you?
Look outside.
Look outside.
Look outside. But
Look outside.
I can't tell you what it is to just look outside. And it's not the curvature. That's why as soon as I came out, I told Phil and Dave, and I said, Daddy's going, and everybody else should go to space.
What do you think? Are you ready? Are you about ready?
One is good.
One is good.
No, but everybody
I'll
should
take
go.
your word for it.
And I think it happens very quick. The 5Gs, you feel every second of it. Oh yeah, you feel every second of it. You'll see me doing some things in there, but you'll feel it. But everything else apart, it was good to see us from the other side. And that's what I started with, right? It's good to see us from the other side. And what you guys have designed and done here, I think every person standing on this planet should go and witness it to really understand what it is, because I can't describe it to you, and I won't. You should go up there and see it. But yeah. Thanks everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for bringing him back safe.
Yes. Oh, all right. Oh, here we go. Hello, sir.
Hello, thank you so much. Wow. All right.
Oh my gosh.
That was
Welcome
incredible.
back.
Yeah, I'm not back yet quite.
Yeah, well, it might take
What an incredible day for all of us, and especially our crew on board. Mason Angel, Sylvain Chiron, Ken Hess, Carol Schaller, Gopi Thotakura, and Ed Dwight. It was an absolute honor to fly you to space and back today with Blue Origin.
And if you would like to follow in the pioneering footsteps of these astronauts and purchase your own seat on a future ride to space, please visit blueorigin.com and click Fly to Space. Your own journey to visit the Kármán line is closer than you think.
Yeah, absolutely, Jackie. And if you're not, don't quite want to buy a ticket yet, you can start with a mission patch.
Dip your toe with a mission patch.
Dip your toe with a mission patch. It's the gateway. This is our mission patch from today. You probably saw that on the flight suits of our astronauts. You too can buy one of these mission patches to add to your collection, or find some other cool Blue Origin gear at our Blue Origin shop. That is a sweet-looking patch. There are some Easter eggs in there. Jackie, do you want to tell us a little bit about what's going on?
Yeah, that's right, Ariane. The NS-25 patch features the Gemini spacecraft, which represents Ed Dwight's aerospace training era. And the hand lifting the crew capsule is a nod to his really unique and amazing artwork. The sunrise represents Mason Angel and Carol Schaller's desire to experience the overview effect. The mountains symbolize Carol Schaller, Gopi Thotakura, and Sylvain Chiron's passion for climbing and skiing. The leaf design on the crew capsule is a nod to Ken Hess and the family heritage software he developed. The patch is a really cool one, and it incorporates all of our astronauts in a really special way from today's flight.
Now, if you would like to join our team and help build the road to space, we have hundreds of positions open across all of our facilities, including machinists and programmers from Florida to LA to Alabama to up here in Kent, Washington. Go to our website, check it out, blueorigin.com/careers.
Yeah, come work with Ariane and I.
Come work with the two of us. All right, everybody, my name is Ariane Cornell. For Jackie Cortez, a special thank you to Chris Bosshausen. To all of you for joining us from around the world. Until our next launch, Gradatum Ferociter.
Have you ever dreamed of going to space and gazing back on Earth through some of the largest windows that have ever flown in space? We certainly have.
T-minus 10, 9.
A once-in-a-lifetime journey is closer than you think. It's your time to join the new generation of astronauts. To book your flight, visit blueorigin.com and click Fly to Space. Tell us as much as you can about yourself. We welcome you to the final frontier.